Hey there, Esther here, and today I'm going to be talking to you about something that's kind of personal, actually. I came in the backyard away from the guys so that they couldn't hear me, but I want to talk about my biggest failures in life. This came up because I was talking to my team, actually, and I was sharing with them some of the stuff that I'm going to talk about in here, and I realized I haven't really shared that with anybody else yet. You hear me, I'm Esther, and I helped over 1,500 women work online and more every single day while traveling the world, and it just seems like so perfect. And I mean, all of those things are true, but it didn't come without some serious failures along the way. So I'm going to go through, I think I have like almost 10 here, and I think that you'll be surprised. And the reason I'm sharing this is because I want you to see that I'm not perfect. Nobody that you see that's successful is perfect. They just didn't stop, and they didn't give up even when the going got really tough. And I'm going to tell you what those examples are. Let's get into it. So, fun fact is I am terrible at math. And in 4th grade is when it started. This is my first failure. From 4th grade all the way through college, guys, I went to school to be a teacher, and all the way through college, I cried my way through every single math class I ever took. It was horrible. And it wasn't just that I was bad at it, I just don't have a memory for it, and I wouldn't remember formulas or how to do the problems. Even though if you explain it, I could do it, but I couldn't remember it. So the tests I would fail. The only way I passed in college was I would do all of my homework. That's a fun trick. C's get degrees. The way to get the C in math classes is to do all your homework and show up to every single class, because your attendance and homework will make up for failing every single test, which is what I did. And you can add into that Spanish and science. Same thing. Spanish and science since high school all the way through college. I barely passed. Same exact tactic. That's how I got through. And I cried my eyes out because I felt like such a failure and so dumb. So if you're in college and you feel like you're a failure or dumb, or even high school, or you didn't do well, and you think, oh, I can't do anything else, it is not true. My business is going to make $1 million this year. I built it all myself. I don't have investors. I don't need to be good at math to make $1 million. You don't need to be good at math to do money, to make money, baby. So fun fact there. Another interesting thing about me is, yes, I went to college and I went to university, and I ended up finishing with a 4-year degree, a minor in liberal studies, a minor in visual and performing arts, and I got my teaching credential. So, the accolades, it sounds really good. But I actually took 6 years to finish school, and it was because I was so behind in math that I had to start from the basics, and it ended up prolonging how long I went to school for, because I had to I just had so many extra classes I had to take because I was terrible at math and science. So yeah, see, the end product looks like, oh, here's the certificates on the wall, but the progress that took me to get there was way longer than it takes more people, and I hated every second of it. I think college is super dumb and overrated. You'll hear me talk about that because when I finished, the amount of money that I made per year was a joke compared to what I paid to go to school, but that's a side conversation for another video. And then another big, huge drama that happened, and if you've watched my webinar, then you've heard this, is that when I've been working from home for about 2 or 3 years as a virtual assistant. My husband had just gotten out of the military, and we did not live below our means. We lived right at the edge of our means. So every month, all our money went to bills, went to rent, went to car payments, went to health insurance, all those things. And we would have nothing left for savings, nothing left for a rainy day, no buffer there. And that really, really screwed us when my husband wasn't able to work when he got out of the military. Unemployment was barely what he was making before. Interesting thing about military, they only base unemployment on what your base salary is, which is tiny. So that wasn't going to be nearly enough. And then I was making money as a virtual assistant, but I was just one half of the equation. So we had probably 50% of our income was totally gone. And we didn't have a backup. And that was a major fail. We had to move out of our house in 30 days notice. I had to call a friend to pay my water bill. I watched my car get repossessed. And that was the lowest point in our life. And then my husband and I ended up having to move into a 1-bedroom apartment, and with our child, he slept in the living room. Our entire lives fell apart. That was only 3 years ago? Yeah, almost 3 years ago now. It was a huge fail. Lowest point in my entire life. no, like nobody could help us because they were going through their own stuff. You know what I mean? And then as I continued to work online, I still struggled. Like, I would allow clients to pay me late or not pay me essentially before work started. And then they would blow me off and they wouldn't pay me. And I would just keep working for them. Like, oh, it's okay. It's 2 and a half days. Or they would have not paid me in like 2 weeks. And my husband would be like, hi, we need to pay our bills, dear. Like, you have to follow up with this stuff. We need this money. And I would just, I don't know. I don't want to ask. Huge fail. I teach all my students this kind of stuff. Like, don't do what I did. That was a huge fail. And then because we needed money and I was in this desperation stage of my life, I would take on clients and I would take on work that didn't feel right. Like, I should have trusted that this isn't going to be good. But I didn't, because I just was like, it's fine. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. And it wasn't, surprise, it wasn't fine. And so it ended up me crying, me not getting paid, them being angry and like threatening me with lawsuits. Like, it was terrible. And I shouldn't have done that. I should have listened to my gut. Those were major fails that I had. Huge loss of income on certain stuff just because I didn't trust myself. I didn't have mentors. Like, there's lots of mistakes and like things I could have done differently. Oh, this is a fun one. When we had our entire, our life fell apart, as I was mentioning, with the car being repossessed, we lost our house, we moved to 1 bedroom. I had to leave my husband shortly after that for like a year. During that time, I just decided to like stop. Oh, there's these 2 birds sitting on the fence just watching me. They're like my audience. Hi. They're so cute. Okay. Sorry. Well, after I left my husband and we had like no money, I just decided to like stop paying my student loan and not tell them that I was going through something. I think I did forbearance for maybe the first year, and then I just stopped and I like moved to Asia, and so I didn't have the same phone number or the same address, so nobody could get in contact with me. And it like, at the time I thought it was so not funny, like I felt guilty and bad about it, but I just like, there's nothing I could do about it. And oh my god, why is it so loud right now? Where are these trucks going? It's like a residential area. Instead of dealing with it and calling them and saying, hey, I'm still going through a financial issue, I can pay $50 a month, or anything like that just to keep it out of collections, I didn't do that. I just let it go to collections, and it sat in collections for 4 years and completely destroyed my credit. And so now when we wanted to move back to America and buy a house, it was a total like disaster. Because of that, I was able to fix it. Fun fact, if you pay off all your debt and then you wait like a few months, you can get a loan. It'll be fine. But I shouldn't have done that. That was a huge fail. And then when we first moved to Bali, we rented a house for a year, and this was during a time when my husband was trying to win me back. So, because I moved to Bali without him, I was like, bye, get yourself together. So I moved to Bali without him, and he's like, I'm going to buy this villa, and we're going to fix it, and I'm going to fix it up, and then we'll be able to rent it out, we'll make so much money, it's going to be so great. He's like, he told me there was like, I was watching a lot of Gary Vee at the time. He was super motivated. And, so we did, and we put about 20 grand into repairing it, which is a lot of money that we put onto credit cards because we still had no money at this time. And we didn't do enough research. This isn't me. This is like more him, but like we were kind of trying to get back together at the time, so I feel like it was part of me. We didn't do enough research to see how much it was going to cost for all the repairs that this villa required. We spent way too much on it, and it still wasn't there. We ended up later finding out from a contractor that he's like, this villa you should have put 0 money in. It basically needs to be completely torn down and rebuilt because it's just so far gone. And we ended up having to move out early because it was such a mess. And the lady said she would refund us like 5 grand that we were owed, separate from the 20 grand we put into it to like fix it up, just FYI. And she never did. She just disappeared with our money, and we never got anything back. And we had to pay rent somewhere else for like 5 months, the last 5 months of the lease. It was great. Lessons learned, right? Like, that was a huge fail. Again, just money. Like, just like putting in a fire pit and burning it. Like, I don't care about you. 20 grand is super frustrating. And then the last thing that I'll share is, I think you can look at people with online businesses and see that they have all these students and all these programs and all these products and da-da-da-da-da. But what you don't see is that we have lots of failed launches and lots of failed things all the time. I launched a program once, and my goal was to get 10 people in it. It was a $1,000 program, and I wanted to get 10 students. I want to make $10,000 from it. I was super excited. I'm pretty sure I had 3 people join. No, I need 2. And then a third one joined later, and that was it. And I was super disappointed. And my minimum goal was 10. I actually wanted 20. That was what my ideal goal was. And I had 3, and that was it. And I share that with you because if you're trying to get started with your virtual assistant thing, or if you're trying to get your online business going and you're not hitting your goals, just keep going. Just set different goals, or just tweak your marketing or tweak your offer until you meet the goals that you want to meet. That's really all there is to it. I could have just at that time said, well, forget it. Nobody wants to see my program. I'm closing the doors. But I didn't. I just tweaked it, did something else for a while, continued to revamp it, and relaunched it again. And I had more success that time. So just to share some of those things with you, guys, like, life just throws waves at you over and over again. This is what I've learned. Life is like this. And sometimes you're on the high part of the wave and it's awesome. Other times, it's really not awesome. And you don't know how long that part's going to go. But I promise that it will go back up. But you have to stick with it. You have to keep going. You have to get up the next day and be like, all right. What did I do wrong before? How can I make some tweaks so that doesn't happen again? And just accept and acknowledge your part in it. Accept and acknowledge that was not good. We're not going to do that again. And move on. It doesn't mean we throw in the towel. It doesn't mean we quit trying to work online. It doesn't mean we quit our business. It just means we keep tweaking until we get it right. I'm so glad I didn't move away from Bali when that house fell apart. I am so glad I didn't give up on my marriage. I'm so happy I finished college. Kind of. I still feel like I wasted money sometimes. But that was all part of my journey to get where I am today. I'm super glad that I didn't stop launching programs and products just because the first one wasn't as successful as I wanted it to be, right? I wouldn't have been able to help almost 2,000 women work online like I have now. So stick with it, keep going, keep making the tweaks, acknowledge your piece in where these problems have happened, and then just move on. Make it better. You can do this. I would love if you would like more awesome tips like this, more work from home help. Subscribe here. And I'm also going to link to my series of how to get started working online in 90 days or less. It's a free, I think it's 4 different part series. You can check out those videos too. And I'll see you next time.